Hey gang, this is Tony Morris with the Murder and Real Estate Group, and today in Tidbits from Tony, I'm talking with Erin Wilson, the team leader for Keller Williams Signature Partners in West Cobb. And I thought we'd talk about some stats today, Erin, and what's going on in the market. I know that you just recently had some market stats come out, and I'm excited to hear about what your thoughts and insights are. So can you tell me just a little bit about yourself, maybe what you do here, and then also your own personal real estate
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm Erin Wilson. I'm the team leader here at the office and at Keller Williams Signature Partners, right here on Dallas Highway in Marietta, Georgia. And I've been in real estate coming up on 13 years. My husband and I started as investors in Florida and had our business there. Then we moved into short sale negotiations, full-time for agents, serving agents and negotiating their short sale deals. And so worked anywhere between 80 to 100 short sale files at any given time, helping through the distressed market. In the Florida market, eventually then moved up here to this area in the metro Atlanta area. In 2009, we got plugged in at KW in 2010, really realizing that we had a lot of market experience and distressed property experience, sales experience, but we didn't know how to build a retail business, meaning working with regular buyers and sellers. And so we decided we needed to get plugged into an organization that would teach us and train us on how to build a business, which brought us to Keller Williams. And then about 4 years ago, through the development of our sales business, then doors of opportunities have opened up as far as leadership. So I stepped into a leadership position at the Woodstock Keller Williams office, and then about 3 years ago stepped into the leadership position here as team leader at this Keller Williams office, and got to meet great agents like Tony Morris here, and helping to grow and to build profitable businesses that really serve their clients at the highest level.
Thank you. And by the way, you're an awesome team leader.
Thank you.
We, as an office, we appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
We also appreciate your background, your knowledge base that you can bring into this. And so specifically, one of the things we're going to talk about today is market statistics. So in light of what's happened over the last 5 or 6 years and it being a seller's market, what is that? How does that affect the current market that we're in right now? And where do you see that going in the days to come? And maybe we'll even talk about some of the pricing things, how sellers can work with their pricing to help with selling properties in today's market.
Definitely. So we've seen a seller's market. Really, that transition happened in the metro Atlanta market from 2011, 12, and 13. Really, if we look back over the last 10 years of the median price points, the lowest median price point year for metro Atlanta market was 2011. And so 2011, really, that was our bottom of our median pricing. And then, of course, then being able to bounce back. And now we're here in 2019, which is now the highest median price point year so far that we've had. So we've been in a strong seller's market. Really, it started to recover in 2012 and 13. And then, of course, we've seen appreciation year over year in most areas here in Metro Atlanta, and being in 2019. Now, Gary Keller tells us is that we are overdue for a market correction. And we typically see those between 5 and 7 years apart, where there's a bit of a market softening or a correction. We definitely saw that in 2009, 10, and 11. And so now here we are in 2019, and we're due. We are due for a market correction. And so the government obviously has been keeping interest rates low, so to help keep affordability for buyers, which has helped to keep the housing market strong. And yes, that might be something that's not sustainable. In my opinion. So
to speak to the interest rates being low, historically you were around some aspect of real estate when we've seen much higher interest rates. I'm looking at 3.5 to 4.5 points on the interest rate. We have on our clients, obviously historically low. How is that affecting right now and keeping the market where it's at?
Definitely. Well, our first house, my husband and I, our first house that we bought, our interest rate was 8.5%. It was actually a no-doc loan that we just had to fog a mirror and here you can have a loan for your first house, right? But our interest rate was significantly higher.
Double.
And in this season right now, when we're in these 3.5s, 3.8, we're in the middle of a refinance on our personal house from 4.75 down to 3.5. And so, and really maximizing that affordability, because in reality, it's been proven that people are staying in their houses longer. It's no longer a turn time
Right.
of an average of 5 to 7
Right,
years.
right.
National Association of Realtors just published that report saying the average is about 10 years now.
Wow.
So people are staying in their
Amazing.
houses
Yeah,
longer, which
yeah.
which will attribute to some of the market stats that we're seeing
Yeah.
of the reduction of closed transactions
Mm-hmm.
that's happening overall in our market. So I do think that that's contributing to it, that people are willing to stay in their houses if they can get their payments lower,
Right.
refinance their houses. So it just makes it so where, and then those who are the first time getting into the market, don't
Right.
ever think that there's a recession or a slowdown on first time home buyer markets, because will always be people that are wanting to
Yeah.
buy their first house.
Right. Yeah, there's
But
always
it's
things
the
happening.
middle of the road and the upper end that are assessing is this the best time? Is this the best season, or should I just refinance or even fix up my house? So one of our office staff is in the middle of deciding to stay put in their house and just rehabilitate it, right? Put in new cabinets, new floors and whatnot, rather than sell.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the stats right now. What are you seeing? What are we seeing statistically? Because it is what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the stats are proving it out. What are we seeing over the last third quarter last year or this year, comparatively to the third quarter last year?
Absolutely.
What are the stats telling us?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we measure is that every single quarter we take a look in comparison of the quarter of the same period last year. And so it gives us the ability to take that snapshot in time and really assess what the changes are, right, as the market fluctuates in the different aspects. So some of the things that we've been watching very closely is the percentage of price reductions. Like how many listings that come on the market are actually getting price reductions.
Right.
And so that number actually is about 50% in most areas in Metro Atlanta are getting price reductions now. And that number has fluctuated between 30% to 50%. So we're on the upper end right now of price reductions, meaning, to me, that means a couple things.
Okay.
That means agents need to do a better job with pricing.
Absolutely.
And having those initial conversations up front with their sellers in order to accomplish the sale. Because our job is not to take listings.
Correct.
It's to
Sell.
sell the listing.
Yes.
And so, in reality, 1 out of every 3 listings are failing right now. 1 out of every 3 homes that go on the market
even despite the fact that we have no
expiring.
inventory.
Even despite the fact that we have very little inventory, and that it's a seller's market, but still 1 out of 3 are failing.
So it's pricing.
So back to your seller's market, the seller's market statement is saying that in a seller's market, sometimes you can push a price point and push the price points and push it up. Well, my neighbor got this amount for my house, and that neighbor down the street, well, maybe I can get this price for my house. And if you're pushing, and if your motivation doesn't dictate that you need to sell now or in a period of time, you may think that maybe we should try out this price, when in reality the stats prove that when you're in your motivation is not high to dictate and say, okay, we're selling and we want to sell within this period of time, that 1 out of 3 are failing market wide, right? Metro market wide.
So what does that look like? Does that look like basically they're missing it by what percentage? They listed, let's just use round numbers. They listed $100,000, just using a dollar figure. And they were overpriced by what percentage? And that dictates, statistically, you have now failed and it's not going to sell.
Yeah, so good question. So I'm going to kind of answer it in a little bit roundabout way.
Okay.
Is that what we're seeing is that in reality, it's not really enough to price it at market value. It's actually better, meaning you can net more money in a shorter period of time that actually gives the seller negotiation ability. So it's not enough just price at market value, that the majority actually can control the negotiations if they price within that 10%, right? Below market value.
That's right.
Right, because then the sellers can actually control the negotiations. They can get a time frame that works for them. They may not need to throw in closing costs or home warranties or termite bonds or the patio furniture. Right.
And it creates some type of desire with multiple buyers potentially. So you have this, increased value of saying, oh, whoa, that house, despite the fact that it's listed at $95,000, everything else is listed at $100,000. Again, just using round numbers. numbers here. That's a better value, and it brings more buyers.
That's right.
Yeah, and
When
competition
when
drives
there
it up.
are buyers sitting in the driveway while you're pulling up to
Right.
take a look at the
Yeah.
house,
Yeah.
and then there's people pulling in behind you, like there's this sense of of demand around that property,
Right.
and so the sellers are in control at that
Right.
point.
It's fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so statistically, what are we seeing last year versus this year? What have we seen happen over in a year's period of time?
A couple things. One thing we noticed that was significant is that these areas of Cobb County, Paulding County, Cherokee, even Bartow, a little bit of Fulton, some of these areas that our agents are, have predominant market share, is that some of the areas of Cobb County that statistically have been hotbeds for
Sure.
new construction, like there are industries coming in, even this northwest corner of Cobb County, like there's been a significant decrease in the number of sold since over this third quarter. A significant, meaning 10% or greater,
Wow.
which
Incredible.
again, if you think of it in terms of business, that right there having 10% less opportunity to get to the closing table,
Yeah.
on top of 1 out of every 3 listings failing, like that's a recipe for how do we serve the client at the highest level.
Right.
That's the question on the table. It's like getting crystal clear on our client's motivation, because that's the whole reason why somebody would take a look and say, maybe I should price my home just a bit under market value to create that demand so that you can control the situation and get everything you're asking for. Even maybe a delayed timeline, because a lot of times selling fast may not be the best option for the client. It's specific to their situation.
Right.
But it may be where they can actually control the timeline and get a lease back situation or a temporary post occupancy after closing, or whatever that situation may be that's best for the client. So the reduction and the overall reduction of number of solds in these various areas, we're watching that very closely. And then there are some areas like the upper part of Cherokee County, Alpharetta, Roswell area, that we've actually had a 20% increase in number of units over the same period last year. So again, there are dynamics, and what's critical about these statistics for you as a client is that you need to partner with an amazing agent like Tony.
That's great.
Just to give him,
Yes. So knowing,
because wherever your property is, you need to be hyper local to what's happening right around you in order to accomplish the sale.
That's right. Market knowledge, it's huge.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
Price, condition, marketing, those are the 3 things that sell a property. Everybody talks about location, location, location. That's the reality. Is location's there. But after that, it is price, condition, marketing.
That's right.
And the price and condition have to match, and the local expertise for the marketing aspect, as well as being able to advise your clients on where to be price-wise and how to enter the market aggressively so that you get a lot of activity. So what happens when days on market? What happens when you don't price it right? And how long are we seeing an increased days on market comparatively maybe to last quarter last year?
Great question. So obviously that's going to vary from area to area.
Correct.
So get with Tony on your specific area. And overall, we've actually, third quarter over third quarter last year, we've seen a 12% increase in days on market overall for Metro Atlanta. So that's another aspect that we're watching very closely, because when you have increased days on market, then the demand is less. Right? That actually means you may net less money on the sale of the home as days on market increase, because there's not that heated period of time. There may be less buyers that come to the table. There may not be multiple offers. And so we've been in a period of time of this seller's market where, we've done a good job getting the word out, right?
Sure.
Like we've done a good job saying, okay, now's the time to sell your house.
Sure.
Now's the time to sell your house. And what's happening in the market is we're seeing what Gary Keller calls a shifting market.
Right.
And so where there are pockets that are really experiencing a slowdown, and a 12% increase on days on market is significant.
Yeah.
And overall.
Yeah, so statistically, we're seeing what's called the shift, and what people think through when we say there's a change in the market. Sometimes there's a panic that goes on, and thinking through, oh my gosh, we're going to see what happened in 2007, 8, and 9. And that's not the case. A shift in the market, and you know this, and I'm speaking to those that may not, but a shift in the market just means that it's changing. And in a change, there's a time period that it goes from being a seller's market to a buyer's market. And there will be 18, 24 months of period of time that we're anticipating that it will actually become an equal market. And a fair market is actually where both have, neither one of them has an advantage based off of any type of calculations or timeline on the market. So statistically, though, what we're seeing is that there is a shift happening. We can now prove it. We've, as agents, have felt it for almost 6 months to a year, that it's feeling like there's been a shift. But now we can literally prove it to our clients that there is technically a shift happening in the market. It doesn't mean panic. It just means, hey, you need to be working with agents that know what they're doing and that can help you and guide you and consult you on where to go from here. And so it's exciting. It's both. What's interesting to me is that it's a time where you can sell your property at the highest peak of the market before the market changes, while at the same time the interest rates are so low that you can now even take advantage on the purchase. It's one of those best case scenarios. If it's time to sell, now is the time. Don't wait. Take advantage of this incredible market. And if you'd like some of the statistics that we have available, we've got an entire PowerPoint. We can certainly get those to you. Just reach out to us at themeridianway.com. And we look forward to serving you in the days to come. Thanks so much, Erin, for spending this time with us. We really appreciate it. Bye, guys.